Hey everybody, this is Taylor. Before we get to today's extra special crossover episode featuring Daryl and myself of the Total Soccer Show, Alexis and Christian of the Cooligans, I should note that part 1 of that is available in this feed. Part 2 will be available in the Cooligans feed tomorrow. I don't know if there's more expletives, but it definitely gets a little wilder in their episode, which is kind of the custom. I also wanted to let you know that we have a returning sponsor on today's episode. It's our friends over at Enclosed. Are you looking for something different for your significant other that might spice things up? Why not get them some high-end lingerie from Enclosed? We're not talking about department store or Victoria's Secret. We're talking seriously high-end products, and with Enclosed size guarantee, their products fit right 98% of the time. That is a high percentage of the time, I'm just saying. So you can sort of remove a lot of the risk you have when purchasing lingerie for another human. Instead, Enclosed does the work. You take the credit for your super upscale gifts every single month. And speaking of those upscale gifts, our listeners can get $35 off any multi-month order at Enclosed.gifts. One more time, that's ENCLOSED.gifts to get $35 off your multi-month order by using the code TOTALSOCCER. One more time, Enclosed.gifts for $35 off with the code TOTALSOCCER. So thank you very much to Enclosed for sponsoring today's episode. Listeners should go check them out because they are wonderful, and they should then continue to check out today's episode featuring us and the Cooligans.
Hello and welcome, my guys, to yet another Total Soccer Show Cooligans crossover episode. Whenever we meet up for any reason, we're sort of tradition and honor bound to do this. My name is Daryl Grove. I'm joined as ever by the well-dressed Taylor Rockwell.
Hello.
Hello. The equally well-dressed Christian Polanco.
All right, that's a nice little compliment.
And wearing sweatpants, it's Alexis Guerreros.
That's right, baby.
Hello, Alexis.
Exactly what you all thought.
All right, business casual for Alexis.
Now this is formal. Oh, look at him going to a black tie event.
Media credential questionable casual.
Yeah.
I told y'all the story about when I was dramatically underdressed for my very first game, like U.S. game, and the press officer was like, "Oh, nice of you to dress up." So ever since then, I've been a little bit more mindful of it.
It was flip-flops, right?
Yeah, well, that and I probably reeked of booze. That probably didn't help either.
Flip-flops and tailgate.
Yes, that was
Wow.
like 11 years ago. It's been a while.
You and Jurgen Klinsmann showing up drunk to games.
Is that libelous?
No,
that's libelous.
that was just a fun joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I miss something?
No, that wasn't a real thing.
Just a fun joke about what went wrong at the start of World Cup qualifying.
I can hear my lawyer wife 100 miles away screaming, "Allegedly!" It's like, you gotta get something in there.
All right, so we put the call out on Twitter. We asked for your questions. We specifically asked for no pizza-related questions.
Oh, we still got plenty. Don't worry.
Well, we still got some. We still got some. First one
Answer all of them. They're trash.
First one comes from Matt Leffler.
Stealing my
Have
word.
you guys previewed this? I know you haven't. You don't do your homework. Have you previewed this?
I did take a quick look. Matt Leffler, great dude. He was one of the guys who came to.
He was at Audi Field.
He was at Audi Field.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, Matt Leffler asks, if you were stranded on a desert island with one of the hosts from the other podcast,
Christian,
who would you want it to be and why?
Well, I guess we're going to be required to, repopulate the Earth. So who is going to?
Who could bear child?
After this, I'm going to explain the birds again.
you took this in a direction.
Yeah. I'm
made
sure.
a choice here.
Matt's like, I may have mistakenly sent that question. I want to say Daryl, but Taylor's good at woodworking, and I'm not building anything.
I'm going to say Alexis because he's still doing the intermittent fasting.
Yes.
So that would mean there'd be certain hours of the day where if I found a stash of food,
I couldn't eat it.
all mine.
Yeah.
All mine.
That's smart. Smart. All right.
I call those hunting hours.
Yeah. But as soon as that clock ticks, your boy's eating all your food.
and in the meantime, just angrily staring at you. So that's a good way to get murdered.
Also, probably having diarrhea in the water you like to swim in. So, get ready for it.
Your man is getting dysentery.
A little bit of E. coli in those walnuts you found, my guy.
I want to change my answer.
You forgot about the riffing, didn't you?
The constant, never-ending riffing.
I'm gonna say,
Look at this rock, and you're like, I'm done.
I was sick in Chicago, as you all will remember, because I was not cute sick. I was like gross sick by the end of it. Christian like brought me cough drops and medicine. So I feel like Christian is the provider that I would need to help keep me calm. Alexis would just be like, why aren't you making that food better? And it'd be a problem.
So you'd have Christian as some sort of nurse.
I just trust him to do the medical aspect of things because I know I don't trust myself to do that.
Everyone knows I have very strong maternal instincts.
And birthing hips.
I think I would probably pick Daryl.
I'm glad someone would.
Yeah, I pick Daryl. We always have great conversation, and we have a good chemistry where we have a lot of fun jokes. We have a big old jokey time out on this island. Yeah, we just won't be able to take anything seriously. Probably won't last long. Right?
Me and Taylor are taking the raft he built off our island.
Yeah, you know what? I've changed my answer to Alexis now. How about that, Christian?
Yeah. I feel like we do a lot of planning about how to get off the island.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'd be very organized.
Yeah, and then we would steal your boat that you all built in the middle of the night, and we would leave.
100%.
There we go.
But I'd still poop in the walnuts. If anybody's keeping track.
In the walnuts?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm impressed with your aim, if nothing else.
It'd be interesting. You have to figure out what's poop and what's a walnut. That's really...
This is the first question. This is the first question. And we've already gone down pooping in each other's walnuts.
Okay,
next question. I feel like it's time for the next question. Wolfram Goatfish. Wolfram Goatfish wants to know. He's been hearing about the TSS Derby, Man United v Wolves, a couple of weeks back, and the winning team's kit adorns the studio door. Mm-hmm. Wolves jersey. Mm-hmm. In the Gulliest Derby, Arsenal versus Everton, does the losing team's kit get draped over a trash can until the next rematch? Do you guys do the Arsenal-Everton derby?
That's where all Everton kits are kept anyway. So why would it matter?
Look, I mean, I'm not even going to... Because I agree with him. You know what I mean? That the way Everton's playing currently.
You know who loses the Cooligans Derby or the Gulliest Derby? Whoever has Theo Walcott right now.
To give him a hot potato. That's a big issue.
It's a game of wait. This potato was supposed to be better.
I thought this was supposed to be a fast potato.
I squeezed the potato and it seemed good when I got it. As soon as I peeled it, all went awry. We should do something to honor it. We just kind of just trash each other when it happens. But most of the time, Arsenal does win this game because it's Everton, right? We're being realistic, but we should do something.
I think you just need a giant cardboard cutout of Theo Walcott in an Arsenal jersey and then an Everton jersey, and one of you just has to carry that around. I feel like that's the way to go with it.
Keep it in our apartment. My wife.
Exactly.
Yeah, my wife would launch that thing out the window first day. I think in the international Gulliest Derby,
yes,
Cuba versus La República Dominicana.
Yes,
who won?
In the last one.
So this did happen recently, right?
Yes, this was last year
the competition?
In the Nations League.
Nations League.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
the qualifying.
Yes,
with a table of 20 teams, but they only played 4 games each.
Exactly.
So
whoever paid the most. I mean, whoever played.
Cuba did win this game 1-0 off just a poor deflection, and then they
was any part of it good?
No. I was going to ask you though, Alexis. Like for tonight, we're recording this right before USA Cuba. Like, are you going to do like the Homer Simpson thing of like start off repping Cuba, and then as soon as the first goal goes in, are you going to like fade out and come back in a U.S. jersey, or what's your approach to this?
I am a fan of the U.S. men's national team, but I'm also we said this on our social media. If Cuba scores 1 goal, I may never get a press credential again.
Very likely.
I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. Seems like everyone's chill there anyway.
No, I mean they're not scoring. Yeah. Next question comes from Daniel Kirkland. Alexi Lalas said on Twitter recently that Carlos Vela would be in his list of top 20 players in the world. I'm going to let that sink in.
Top 20 currently.
Mm-hmm. Is he just trolling us? Is Alexi just trolling us, or is there any possibility that a sane person could believe that?
The answer is Alexi's always trolling.
He's always starting conversations, right? Yeah.
Yeah, at the very least, he's like at least supporting American soccer in this ridiculous sentence, right? But Carlos Vela, as you know, obviously he's a very good player.
He's a magnificent player. But I could find 20 players better than him.
Yeah, 20 is not the number. He wouldn't crack 50.
Yeah. So we were sort of talking about this in the car, right? Because we did our homework, and I was saying like, okay, you can say Messi's better, maybe Ronaldo's better, whatever like that. But you could also just easily drop down the list and say Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's probably a better player than Carlos Vela.
Of course.
Right? And then
Yes.
there's like a big gap in between that he's not cracking the top 20.
I'm not so sure of that.
He can't even turn up for international duty. Like, a top 20 player turns up to play for their country.
It's Gabon. Or were you talking about Vela? What international duty do they have? He's too busy buying bedazzled jeans.
No, I'm saying,
do your thing, Obama.
I'm saying Carlos
I know,
Vela.
Carlos. I mean, here's the thing. There's no one doing what he's doing in their league, right? At the moment, Messi's not playing that well.
Yeah.
So, is he the best player in MLS right now? Yes.
Yeah.
Does the best player in MLS deserve to belong, even if he was in the top 20? I don't think so.
Probably not, right?
Because of the nature of the competition he's playing.
Yeah.
Then again, while I'm saying that, I'm going to now play devil's advocate to myself, which is what happens when no one else is in the room. If, someone like Messi or Ronaldo, or back when he was in La Liga competition, he was playing the strongest competition, right? Not every team in La Liga is as good as Barcelona.
I mean,
yes.
the league table best that have.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
very good still.
Yeah, they are very good. All right, I'm spitballing. I'm saying, like, they play weaker competition from time to time, and so does Carlos Vela.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in to say that,
He makes at least the top 4.
I don't know where this road's going. Okay.
He's the best player in MLS. Even if he was one of the top 20 players, can he still do that? Can he still be considered that?
I think
Is
maybe
he great on a curve?
The way to do this, I think, is to think that it's impossible to rank players playing in different leagues.
Yeah.
It's kind of just but you can't do it, right? Because
One of your fans, who's also a statistician, is flipping out right now because I'm sure there's an algorithm.
But you can't
that
take
explains it.
what Carlos Vela's doing against lowly paid fullbacks in MLS and say that proves that he's better than at least 20 Premier League players.
I mean, like,
right?
one of the things
he
we
might
talked
be,
about,
but there's not proof of it because he's not doing it in, say, the Premier League.
like we talked about on the way up. Like, I think this is the only question we actually discussed in somewhat depth.
Yeah.
And I was making the point that is Raul Jimenez significantly worse than Carlos Vela? Like, would Jimenez come in and be a strong player in Major League Soccer? Probably not set the goal scoring record, but I think he would do just fine and score plenty of goals. And with that in mind, to me, I'm like, well, yeah, but Jimenez is certainly not near that conversation. So to me, Vela, while a very, very good player, I would not put in the top 20. Certainly
there we
not.
go. So then the question becomes, why did Alexi Lalas say it?
To get us to talk about it, mention his name 4 times.
And he succeeded.
Yeah,
and we
he
talked
did.
about MLS, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Alexi Lalas knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
and he's very good at it.
really good at his job.
He's in the top 20 Twitter MLS promoters.
Yeah, for sure. I'm number 1.
Ready for one? Oh, this one's directly to the Cooligans. Right? So I guess we don't get to answer this. Robert says, if the Cooligans had the opportunity to throw cold spaghetti at any soccer player, who would it be?
Is that a thing y'all have done or discussed, or is this just a random question?
I'm afraid this guy knows me from high school. No, I don't. I've never thrown cold spaghetti at someone.
No, that was when you threw limp noodles at people.
Yeah, that was my prom night. Please. It's very true.
You threw yourself in that one?
I know the milkshake thing is against that Neil
Yeah.
Farage
So
guy.
you would throw a milkshake at, say, Lucas Moura.
Did they get? Did they get the wrong stereotypical Italian food? Did they mean pizza?
Yeah, I don't
Is
know
that what happened?
what's the insult of the spaghetti being cold. I guess if it was hot, you would burn them, so it'd be
Less malicious.
I got a list for that.
It
for
would
sure.
be. I guess I actually think of it kind of like the milkshake because it's not dangerous, right? Like hot spaghetti would
But
be.
it's meant to embarrass.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So what was the question again?
if you could throw cold spaghetti at any soccer player, who would it be?
And any soccer player.
Yeah.
well, any soccer player. Who do we dislike that enough to throw?
Am I with
spaghetti on
Alexis
them?
and Christian if this happens? Can I answer this?
I mean, they're struggling, so yes.
If I'm with them, because I feel like I might be able to outrun Alexis, it's Zlatan, and then I would just try to outrun Alexis. I don't have to outrun
Black
Zlatan.
belt.
I just got to
That's all
outrun
you
Alexis.
have to do when I'm there. If a bear attacks, just beat me.
I guess. I mean, the first person. I guess somebody awful enough that I would feel okay with myself throwing.
Jeff Cameron.
Drunk Jurgen Klinsmann.
No, Jeff Cameron.
I was gonna say Cristiano Ronaldo.
All right.
Awful
there we go.
enough.
Jeff
Yeah.
Cameron and Cristiano
I wouldn't feel
Ronaldo.
bad about about doing it. Jeff Cameron.
Ronaldo's reaction to that would be something special to watch.
He'd freak out just because there's carbs on it.
He hasn't literally touched pasta for 14 years.
He's not allowed in a room with it. His body
right.
would break out.
We have another food question. This is going to be the last food question. I'm going to skip any future food questions. Christian Mendoza, why are Mexican tamales so much drier and less tasty than Salvadoran/Honduran?
First of all,
put my mic down again.
This is, first of all, this is going to cause a lot of beef, but he's 100% right.
Okay.
Have you ever had like more Central American tamales?
No, not to the point where I've known where it came from or paid attention to any of that. No.
So to call someone's tamales tough would be like an Italian calling someone else's fresh mozzarella tough. Like it's very disrespectful. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. I grew up with Cuban tamales, which have so much more meat inside and a lot more seasoning. And it's not just the cornmeal. I think Mexicans really lean on the corn flavor because they have what's considered the crown jewel of heirloom corn. They have the most corn flavor. Like, we grow sweet corn here.
This is the last food question, right?
Yeah. So I think that's why. So Mexican corn still makes Alexi Lalas' top 20 for tamales.
Okay, I'm glad.
Saved it. Yeah. You saved it.
I said Mexico's got the best corn. You can't get mad at me, y'all.
I was dozing off, but then you brought me back.
And if this was an episode of Top Boy, corn means bullets.
Hey everybody, Taylor jumping in real fast. Much more still to come from our conversation with the Cooligans, obviously, and a good reminder that you can also find part 2 of that interview on the Cooligans feed tomorrow. That would be Thursday, October 17th. But for now, I wanted to take a moment to let you know about today's sponsor, our friends over at Feels. Feels is a better way to feel better. Their premium CBD will help keep your head clear and help you feel your best. It's been proven to greatly reduce anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. So, if you are a U.S. men's national team fan who is still sort of dwelling on that loss to Canada, as you probably should be, if you're anxious about the state of the U.S. men's national team, if you're having difficulty coping with the high-stress reality of losing to Canada, if you find yourself restlessly pacing around your home, wondering if things are ever going to get better, then I would say Feels is your shortcut to feeling better until the U.S. actually starts to perform to the standard that we've come to expect from like years ago. Not 2 years ago or a year ago, but like before that, when the U.S. was good and fun to watch. Feels naturally helps you reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. Maybe Berhalter could have some of that to maybe take the tension off a little bit and feel slightly better about where things are. It works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, there's no hangover, there's no addiction. So if you're interested in seeing what Feels has on offer and how it could work for you, you can join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door every month. So you can become a member today by going to feels.com/TSS and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/TSS to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. One more time, that's feels.com/TSS. Get some Feels, feel better about the U.S. men's national team, feel calm, feel relaxed, feel good to go for future games. Until that might occur, I'll turn it back over to us talking to the Cooligans about random Twitter questions.
All right, next question.
It's true.
Costa Kaliagos asks, if a Vardy Rooney wife story, I'm sure you guys saw this story.
Are you kidding me? I'm here for it.
Were to come out with the latest US men's national team squad, which 2 wives or girlfriends do you think it would be between? Taylor, I want to go to you first because you weren't involved in the last 2 questions.
Oh, it's fine. You've made a mistake there, my friend, because I do not have an answer, because I genuinely don't know if any of the players have, like, identifiable enough wives or girlfriends.
No high-profile wives.
No. Altidore is dating Sloane Stephens.
Okay.
Which is one of my picks.
Yeah. Oh, but does he count? Because he's not in the squad anymore. Is he allowed?
I mean, he was in the original 26.
Then sure, because there's one that we know. Like, I mean, but I can't really say. It's tough because...
But Sloane Stephens would injure her thumbs while typing the Instagram post. It would just be on brand for the couple.
How'd you pull a hammy?
Talking smack on the internet.
Too much shade. I threw too much shade.
It's funny. It also makes me cry. So that's my answer is I don't know, basically.
All right. We don't know enough about them.
It's sort of a shame that like the soccer players, the WAGs are not high profile sort of enough, and we don't know anything about it. It speaks to...
because we got to get better.
We're not good enough players yet. Aren't high profile enough to attract the interest of the general public.
Yeah, the sport in itself. I think the players themselves are not sort of encouraged to be about themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's very much about the culture of American soccer.
There's so much more. In fact, I want to remix this question. I'm going to say Ashlyn Harris.
Okay.
Ali Krieger's WAG and Simone Bales? Simone Bales? Simone Biles. Simon Bales. My brain works sometimes, I promise you.
Who is Simone Biles dating?
Who's the girl that Josie's dating?
Sloane Stephens. Oh, my God.
You thought her name was Simone?
That person.
Sliding off camera now.
I don't know the names.
Sliding off camera. I think this is Exhibit A in my argument that we don't know enough people.
What is a very tiny gymnast?
So the answer is Sloane Stephens, but it would still be Rebecca Vardy. Sharing the post.
I thought I had missed a story.
Wait,
here.
he's not dating the gymnast?
No.
Who's he dating?
Sloane Stephens, a tennis player.
Okay. I should pay attention more.
You need to put on a
just to our conversation.
I said the name seconds ago.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about the mafia.
You? There we go. You're still on heirloom corn?
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay, Sean Hardgrove. I'm taking gambles here because I'm about to read questions without pre-reading them. Sean Hardgrove says, instead of trying to make amends with fans, US soccer seems to be antagonizing them at every opportunity. The equal pay thing, the coach GM hiring time, ticket prices, etc. Are they aware of how angry and distrustful fans, especially the men's national team fans, are? What should they do to turn it around?
All right, it's a big question. There's a lot of questions there. Well, when we spoke to Grant Wall recently, we kind of had this conversation about like how aware is U.S. soccer of like people's displeasure, and I think they are aware, but that is not necessarily the thing that's going to make them change. I think they are focused on their vision, regardless of how people feel on how we get there.
Why don't they care?
I don't know. I
think we have to stop. Every other country has a federation that acts as sort of the harbinger for that national team. Ours acts more like an event coordinator or an event organizer. So everybody has a role. One person's role is to maximize, profits. So they're going to do it. So no one's sitting there. I don't think anyone really sort of believes in this sort of holistic view of what a national team does, because in this country it doesn't. It's a for-profit organization. It's
U.S. soccer is a non-profit.
I get it. Let's be honest. They need to fill the bucket, even if they're not going to keep it as profit.
That's why ticket prices are high for friendlies. We were talking about this the other day, right? That's where they make them. Like ticket prices.
Right.
I know we got media credentials, but ticket prices for this game we're going to tonight at Audi Field were actually pretty reasonable, right? They were like $20-something. Yeah. And I think we were talking about this, when it's like points on the line, they'll go to an MLS stadium, a smaller stadium, and they'll have reasonably priced tickets. But when it's a friendly, it's like, all right, let's play in an NFL stadium, and some of the tickets are like $200. And honestly, they would happily probably sell one ticket for $500,000 and just have one fan there if they could get away with it, because that's where they make their money.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think when the fans are upset, I agree with the fans. But we're looking at soccer from the last 4 or 5 years. And I think a lot of the organizations that run soccer in this country are still in what was it like 20 years ago, and we're afraid to slide back there. So while the getting's good, let's get it. It's a very capitalistic approach.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think I have a theory on the ticket price. My theory, I don't know if this is makes any real sense, but I do think that the high ticket prices, especially for those games that are notable and important. I think that the games, as far as the competition and the concern of having too many fans from another country, the away team there. I think
like the Red Bull game, Costa Rica-US game.
I think the prices are high because they're trying to price out the opposing team.
Oh, really?
That's my guess. I've always had that feeling. Because this has always been an issue. But maybe the strategy is, let's get the ticket prices higher, get U.S. fans who care about the team to show support, make money there, have less away fans, and have a better chance for our team to win. That's my theory.
There's no way that's what they're doing. I think they're just trying to make money.
Okay. I think there is maybe some truth to what Christian is saying. But I think the thing that I go back to Alexis's point about it being a business, while it is a nonprofit, I think about when we were all in Philly for the coaches convention way back when, and there was the U.S. soccer presidential election.
Yeah, that's where we all first met.
And only Carlos Cordero was like, we don't actually have $150 million surplus. We have this that we have to pay for. We already have these costs committed. It's not this. And everyone else kind of was operating to the assumption that they did have that.
Yeah.
And I think if you extend that further, I think that's kind of how they operate. It's probably there's a bunch of stuff that they don't make public that we don't know. That even if people are really frustrated, that for example, maybe they talked to Ernie Stewart 6 months before they made it public, and so when everyone else is like, why haven't you hired anybody? They're like, well, we're already talking to people, but you don't need to know.
They definitely talked to Greg Berhalter a long time before they announced that they were talking to Greg Berhalter.
So I do think that they function from a perspective of we're running as a business. You guys don't really need to know what's going on until the team is on the field, and then you're welcome to pay money for that. And I also think they don't want to lower ticket prices because there's a thing, like, it's why Apple charges more. Like, you want to create this idea of exclusivity, and it's this unique product.
Perceived value.
Yeah, and if as soon as you drop the ticket prices to $10, then you're saying this national team is worth $10.
Yeah.
So I think that's where
it's
some
so
of the pricing comes from.
exclusive, no one shows up.
Yeah.
Let me see your shoes. I think if the most frustrating thing.
When's the last time you were at a club? Based on that recreation.
97.
Yeah, I was going to say 79 from that, what I just did. It was in Germany, too. I think the most frustrating part and the core of everything we've all said, all the different things that are frustrating about what U.S. soccer does, is all stems from the lack of transparency.
Yep.
Whether it comes from a place of you probably shouldn't know what's going on behind those closed doors because maybe we're not fully in control or there's too many voices or whatever it is, or it would cause too much mayhem. Whatever the case is, I don't know why they decide that they want to be this way, but because they are this way, it is causing all these other issues.
I think it's about projecting power. Right? I think the history of the US Soccer Federation is for a long time, soccer wasn't that big a deal. And they almost had to front as if, like, oh, yeah, we're a really well-run operation. Soccer's a serious sport. And now that soccer is a serious sport, I think there's just a cultural mindset of projecting, like, yeah, we're super on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and they're always trying to...
We're totally in control.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I saw somebody post on Twitter that, like, it doesn't matter how far away we get from 1999. Like, it's been 20 years since then. I will still think the 90s were last year. And maybe that's Major League Soccer as well.
Yeah.
And U.S. Soccer as a result, too. It's like, it's still 1999 when we barely made it to World Cup and didn't do well.
NESL just folded.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We're still in that panic mindset of trying to present as if everything's good. One final thought I have on this is I think a lot of the frustration people have with U.S. soccer is indirectly related to just how well the U.S. men's national team is doing. Like, if
not well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So because the team's not doing that well right now, like World Cup failure and all that sort of stuff, I think people get frustrated with U.S. soccer. As soon as that team looks good and starts winning, people will kind of forget the various frustrations.
Yeah, you'll sort of forgive it, too.
Yeah, well, and I think the American soccer, the U.S.
It's like judging a president on the economy or gas prices. It's like judging a president on gas prices.
Right.
When sometimes the gas prices are not the president's
exactly.
Right.
Well, to the U.S. men's national team, like their fans, I'll give them credit. I think they are more forgiving than other fans. We have a very long leash with what we don't expect to win the World Cup. We just want to get there and maybe look okay and look competitive.
Get out of the group.
Yeah.
It's really get out of the group and you're good.
And I think U.S. men's national team fans will understand and be okay with it. But if we can't even reach those bars that we set after the 94 World Cup set forth this generation of people being like, all right, well, I guess we should expect something from this men's national team, and we haven't, or at least there's like a downslide at the moment.
So we set a low bar and you tripped over it.
Yeah.
But
one more thing?
Well, to your point about the gas prices, though, but this is the case that the president did oversee the rise in gas prices. Like U.S. Soccer oversaw where we are right now.
This is true, but it's like you're only taking one metric and judging the whole thing by one metric.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at the same time, the women's team won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is insane.
Which they still managed to screw up with the equal pay.
I was going to say,
thing.
but couldn't you argue that that's in spite of the federation, not because of it?
I mean, only if you want to make the federation look bad, right? They hired Jill Ellis.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying?
This is very true.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
You got
I
good
listened
points.
to Hope Solo first, and she said Jill had nothing to do with it.
No axis to grind there at all.
The Church of Hope.
Neither of the two World Cups she won.
Yeah.
Don't give her ideas,
All right.
please.
Next one. Paul Nichols asks, how many defectors do you project?
This is an Alexis question.
Hopefully all of them. Run towards the southern end. I'll leave the door open. Celebrate like you scored a goal when no one's looking. As soon as U.S. scores their 17th goal, run out the other door.
I want to take bets now on, I think we've tried about 3 different ways in which Alexis may never be granted a press credential again. I really want to take bets on, is it because he'll support Cuban defectors?
Yeah.
Is it because he's going to say something in the press box he shouldn't?
If you
It could be
think
any
I
number of
won't,
things.
if you think if I have a chance I won't slide a door open for them, you're dead wrong.
I mean, who knows? It's the last time they were here in the Gold Cup. Cuba made it to the Gold Cup.
Yep.
And how many people defected? I think it was like 4 or 5. So
One already defected yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll just say, actually, this question, you guys, your Twitter account replied to it. We already have one.
Yeah.
So what happened? Do you know the story?
He ran from the hotel yesterday after training.
Into DC?
He just ran into
Out into
DC.
DC.
Yeah.
It's the new Watergate scandal.
Isn't it usually like there's some sort of a family member or some distant relative
Somebody
that's...
waits with them, takes them away.
Yeah. All right. Is that what happened to Ozzy Alonso?
Ozzy also broke out during at the hotel. Hotel seems to be where they lose sort of full security on some of the players.
Yeah. And there's another one where somebody walked away in a Walmart parking lot, I think, and had a family member pick them up. Maybe that was one of the guys who played against the Kickers. There was two from Charleston a couple years ago.
I've actually forgotten his name.
Ozzy Alonso was on the battery, Charleston Battery.
Yes, he was.
That seems to be a common landing place for a lot of Cubans who've either defected or Cuban Americans.
Did you? We were researching the other day. There's a guy who's playing for Cuba right now. I don't think he's definitely not the guy that defected because he just legally plays for Reno.
Yeah.
In the USL Championship, he was playing in Cuba. He just applied for a visa and just has gone the sort of
There's one player that
the regular
plays here.
paperwork route.
The problem is that the money, even though it's not much, it's more than what they get in Cuba. That money goes directly to Cuba. He gets like a stipend. He doesn't get paid here. So that's the big issue with players that want to go the sort of reverse end. There's a bunch of Cuban players, I think it might be 2 or 3, that play in Liga MX.
Okay.
And there's one that's really popular.
In a non-defector kind of way.
In a non-defector, yeah. They have relations where they're allowed to do that easily. And the money goes back to Cuba. It goes to Cuba, whether it's overseen by Cuban, goes to his bank or something. They monitor how much he's making.
Maybe the upside of this could be that the Cuban government could put pressure on USL to raise wages when they see how much is being sent back.
Well, no. Have you seen what they make in Cuba? You get paid in how many pieces of toilet paper? That's amazing. Good God, you millionaire.
Oh, okay. Oh, next question. By the way, I'm going to half past for the switchover.
Go for it. Yeah.
Inside the 18.
Let's go.
Michael Majid. It's Michael Majid.
Do it.
What are your thoughts on Victor Valdez being fired by Kluivert from La Masia? And is it an uphill battle for former goalkeepers? I knew it would be a goalkeeper. To gain respect as head coaches/managers. Basically, is it harder for goalkeepers to get respect as coaches?
Well, after Brad Friedel debacle, I would hope so. I think
it was all fine till Brad Friedel, right?
Yeah, everything was great.
He sank the whole thing.
I think goalkeepers have that thing in them where they're used to sort of watching the game from just outside the outfield and they're arranging the defenders.
Yeah.
So they have it in their head. That
was one of the Brad Friedel problems, right? He would stand behind the goal instead of on
that's the wrong
dugout.
Place. Yeah. Catchers in baseball always view themselves as coaches because they're picking the pitches.
Okay.
I think it's that.
I don't understand any of what you just said. But,
all right. So there's a sport that's like rounders, but more boring. So I think because of that, I think goalkeepers have it in their heads that they just make great coaches. I prefer probably a defensive midfielder or a midfielder because they constantly have to track back and forth.
What do you think, Tyler? Coaches has got. I'm trying to think of famous.
It's tough.
Walter Zenga came and coached Wolves for a while, and it was insane. He was not good, he has had a job a year for 15 years. He never stays anywhere.
Was Prudhomme a goalkeeper?
Prudhomme was a goalkeeper. Yeah, Belgian guy.
Was he coaching Belgium? He was coaching somebody decently high up at some point. But I struggled to think of successful or consistently successful goalkeeper head coaches as opposed to goalkeeper coaches.
The only one I can think of is the current Wolves manager, Nuno Santos.
I was going to say, wasn't Nuno Santos a goalkeeper?
Yes. Yeah.
But even he, I feel like he's an outlier.
Last 2 Wolves coaches have been goalkeepers. That's weird.
There is the stigma about goalkeepers that they're a little bit crazy, right? Yeah. They're a little bit wild. They're a little bit because they're used to just being by themselves. They train by themselves. They only train with other goalkeepers.
They're the drummers of soccer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I don't know how to extend that analogy further to coaching, like a band manager. But I think that's part of it is that if you spend all your time with a goalkeeper coach, with other goalkeepers training that way, it probably doesn't necessarily set you up to be understanding everything that's being conveyed to everybody all the time the way you would say if you're a central midfielder. You're probably used to what everybody else is being told what to do because you got to know where they are. And
there's also, I think, in terms of Michael's point of the lack of respect, it could be that if you are coached by, let's say, Johan Cruyff. You've seen Johan Cruyff play soccer. You know that he knows how to play outfield.
Of course.
I think the goalkeeper's job is so different
right.
that people might have been thinking, well, what do you know about playing midfield?
It's almost a different sport.
Yeah, it is. It's a very different role.
Yeah,
right?
Very much so.
Absolutely. It's like if a drummer...
That's why Friedel kept telling them to just pick it up and run.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
As long as you don't leave the box, you can put your hands on it. What are you talking about?
I'll say this. There was a time I did speak to a New England Revolution player before Brad Friedel.
Humble brag.
I'll just say I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But when Brad Friedel did sign with the Revolution, he was very concerned that it was a goalkeeper coach. It was a goalkeeper as the next manager, and he was not excited about what that would look like. And he was 100% correct.
Turns out he was right. He or she, we're not going to say which New England Revolution player.
Could have been one of the famous wives or girlfriends. girlfriend.
Could have been.
Exactly. I saw it on.
It was Lee Win. He left. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Lee Win.
It was just Colleen Rooney was just talking a lot of smack on her Instagram, and that's why I got this information about
It was ... Brad Friedel.
And the other thing I would add, because I don't know about the exact Kluivert situation, but recently somebody told me I look like Patrick Kluivert. I got that recently. I have a picture of him right here in front of me.
I can see that.
I'm sticking with Nani.
Just think black people look alike. I think that's all it is. It's really racist. You guys got to stop this.
No,
you got somebody else too. You got.
I mean, I get a million, but this was a new addition to the list of footballers, ethnically ambiguous footballers that Christian Polanco looks like. That is the list.
That could be an Instagram account.
Please feel free to create
That
it.
sounds like a good Tumblr. From
Yeah,
5 years ago.
100%. Tumblr is back.
So yeah, any other questions? Or
we do, but I feel we're about at the halfway point here.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I'm willing to turn this over to you guys. If you've been listening to this on the Total Soccer Show, you'd like to hear part 2, go and subscribe to the Cooligans podcast. You can hear part 2 over there. If you don't want to give them the downloads and you're going to end it right here, I will say on behalf of Alexis and Christian and Taylor, thank you for listening, and Taylor and I will talk to you soon.
You gotta slice it.